And we're live.
Yay.
Yay.
And we're late.
May white God
Except
bless you.
Although it looks like everybody's muted except the three of us, so
hmm
you might
Praise white Jesus.
And Loki just got up and left.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Oh, and there's my echo.
Well, now the live stream started.
Is anyone drunk yet?
It sounds like Loki is.
Yeah, I don't know why.
But I really want to start this off right. This
You
shit
didn't start
cracked me
this
up.
off drunk?
No. But this really cracked me up when I saw this, so I really gotta start with this.
You have good articles already? Okay.
So the Washington Times wrote an article about the Women's March that we've all been hearing about. You know, build a wall around Trump, as the sign says there, where the feminists basically tried to hijack the Women's March and make it a feminist march and say that everyone there was a feminist. Well, apparently, we're not the only ones who thought this was a stupid, pointless march. Apparently, the transgender community is upset, and the headline is, Transgender Community Says Women's March Made Them Feel Isolated.
Yes.
Apparently, there was too much vagina at the Women's March for the transgender folk. Oh, yeah.
Let the infighting begin.
Hats, so I do think there was too much vagina. When
The
they have
transgender-
vagina hats.
The transgender community has officially taken offense to last weekend's Women's March on Washington, saying they felt excluded. Transgender activists claim pussy hats that women wore at anti-Trump marches alienated the transgender community by suggesting a vagina is essential to womanhood, a headline from the Daily Mail read. The report quoted an article by activist Mary Sullice, who took to Mike.com to air her grievances about the Women's March, and more specifically, the pink kitty cat hats the women participating were wearing, which I felt were kind of vulgar anyway, because it feels like they're objectifying themselves as like, I am my vagina, and apparently the transgender people agree with me. That was the message that the hat was sending out there, was that I am nothing more than my vagina.
Pink, you should be going to the doctor.
No, I'm saying that was the message I got from the hat. It wasn't women's empowerment. It is, I'm a vagina, therefore I win. Like, wait, therefore that's it.
They called it a pussy hat, and I didn't quite understand what they meant by pussy hat until like 40 minutes into me releasing my video. I was like, oh, like a cat with cat ears, like a pussy cat hat.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Someone made a killing on
this is just cancer on a level that I don't think I've ever quite personally dealt with. I mean, I've seen protests, I've seen march, I've seen Black Lives Matter, but honestly, this was like a next level of cancer. Honestly, I was the whole time, I had UFO shaped pom poms, and I was cheering on the fucking aliens to come and like blow us up.
I know, right? Like, if Independence Day was ever gonna happen, like the Will Smith movie, that was the day. That was the day. They missed their cue.
It's just like, I'm sorry, you raised the largest number of protesters who are protesting against, well, nothing. And
literally nothing.
First thing you do is decide, how can we make ourselves look as asinine as possible? I know, let's carry around large paper mache vaginas. That'll make us look really serious, guys.
Well, exactly. You gotta let people know what the issue is without talking to you.
Vaginas?
Yeah, well,
the issue is vagina. I mean, come on, Minecraft. Have you not made an issue of vagina at least 4 times a day? Come on.
That's the first thing that I do when I go into the office in the morning is I just look around the office and then I just shout vagina before I sit down and start doing my job.
Do nothing else other than categorize everybody by their genitalia.
Yeah, exactly. When I see a woman, I'm just like, hey, vagina.
I mean, I know whenever I go into some place, I'll only talk to the man who works there because they're the one who's going to know what's going on because they have testicles.
Hmm?
This is obvious, right? This is just a well-known fact.
Yeah.
Hey, look, guys, we are talking about vaginas and women now, and I'm telling you right now, you will not divide us, okay?
Yeah.
God. Like
just gonna spread them legs, though.
dude,
Just saying.
okay. The other part that I found really, really troubling about the whole Women's March is this: is that you had people who were actually pro-life, who wanted to actually participate, but they were essentially being shouted down and told to like not go because they were pro-life, and most of those people were actually women. So I mean, it wasn't exactly inclusive.
Yeah,
It was just
apparently
a big
having a
giant
vagina
echo
is not
chamber.
Yeah,
Well,
basically.
it's like it's the mob mentality of right think. You know, it's the majority gets to basically control the narrative. And so that's why I find it so funny when people criticize feminism and they're like, well, you got to listen to the smaller voices. I'm like, smaller voices don't have any control. That's not how this works.
There was a video going around on Twitter earlier today with I think they called it the protesters versus the working class. They're like, haha, these guys are claiming to be claiming to fight for the rights of the working class, while the working class is looking down on them for being morons. And it's just a bunch of idiot hipsters standing around burning the American flag, while a few guys actually try and come up and put it out and like get away with the flag. But regardless of all that, at some point, the FedEx guy that comes up and tries to take the flag away from them without them burning it is trying to walk away. And so a few guys, you can see, they kind of assault him and they kind of shove him and they kind of push him. He goes, "Fuck off, you fucking idiots." And he's like, "Hey, I'll fight fascism here if I want to." And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, are you fucking serious? You think you're fighting fascism by burning the American flag in the streets? And
No, this is what cracks me up. The people are like, I'm anti-fascist. Anybody who is not in power is anti-fascist. Right? Only the person who actually has the ability to be a fascist because they're in control would be the only one you could suspect of being pro-fascist, and it would only be at the time that they're in power. Right? I think everyone's default is to be anti-fascist. Right? I mean, is
Whoa,
anyone like,
whoa,
oh, I
whoa,
really want authoritarian control over everything in my life? They
whoa,
like,
whoa, whoa. According to some content creators, there is no true anti-fascist. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna say any names, Thunderfoot, but according to him, there is no true anti-fascist. There's only fascism that you can't criticize. They're all good boys. They were all
that's
just
what I'm
going to the
saying.
store
I
to
agree
get.
with Thunderfoot. I agree with him. There are no true anti-fascist. Everyone's an anti-fascist unless they have power. Then you gotta hope that there's a checks and balances to keep you from being an authoritarian dick.
well,
Because honestly, we all think we know best, right?
what's the point
So
of
if we
trying to
had
take
ultimate
power if
power,
not
we'd
to abuse
probably be
it?
fascists.
What's the
Right,
point of
exactly.
taking power if you're not taking it to abuse it?
That's the whole
Clearly, if
point
you
of the
have
U.S.
like,
Constitution. It's written because whoever's in power doesn't really have the power. That's the whole purpose of our structure of
The,
government.
the, the whole the whole point of it is to limit power, not to gain it. That's the whole
Exactly.
point of it. Yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Right. Our founding fathers knew anybody who was given power is a fascist. Like it's your default to be when you're in power. But when you're not in power,
And
you're anti-fascist. Like there is nobody is sitting there like, oh man, I really want someone to be an authoritarian over me and just limit
yeah,
my
I mean
speech and fucking oppress me.
the last that I checked, I'm pretty sure that the reason why they put that shit in power because they just left a fucking monarch system. They didn't want that shit. When you give someone too much power, they go crazy with it. They almost always does.
I
I
don't
Well,
mean,
think
that's it.
any.
The
I don't.
Federalists actually offered a crown to George Washington, and he refused and said, "No, we're not going to establish something that we just fought to get rid of."
I don't think like on the individual basis, if you ask someone, they'd be like, I want an authoritarian rule over me.
Exactly.
But if you look at the masses, people do want control and security, and they don't like having too much freedom because then that's a lot of choice. And then when you have a lot of choice, you're responsible for your actions. And then you
exactly.
have,
No one wants responsibility.
right.
Right.
So
Well,
it's
yeah, exactly. And
also,
your
it's also
anarchists are the
you,
same way. When it
yeah,
comes
but
down to it, none of them truly want this anarchist society that they talk about. They don't really want a complete, absolute personal accountability for everything.
no, but it's also that would just be too hard. Like if you have too many options, it's impossible to make a decision and you're always unsatisfied with your decision. So you like when you're limited to something because the decision gets made for you.
You heard it. She's pro-slavery. That's what I heard. Limit your
look.
choices and your freedoms. There you go. You heard
Hey,
it from the
hey,
feminists,
hey,
guys.
hey. In,
We have to
fairness,
stop relying on all these luxurious lifestyles that we're
If,
leading,
if,
and just minimize
if,
all
if
of our choices to
I mean, if I
nothing.
didn't have to
Yeah.
worry about paying rent, I wouldn't
Yay,
mind.
communism, I guess.
I would
Hey.
gladly be your slave. I would pick all your cotton.
You can very easily right now today stop worrying about paying rent and have the one choice of being homeless. It's just available to everyone at any
Slavery.
given time.
You won't be homeless if we bring back slavery. You could just sell yourself into slavery. They used to do it in the Roman Empire.
What about slaves that don't work?
Well, they have
No,
to
you
work.
could just
That's what the
be
whip's
like,
for.
knock on someone's door and be like, "Hey, can I live here? I'll cook and clean for you." That sounds fucking awesome.
That's literally slavery, but without the asking.
Well, no, because you're exchanging room and board, right? As
Yeah, no, they do
Sargon
that
in one of his
today.
videos, he's like, if the government took 100% of your wages, that's not slavery. It kind of feels like it is. I don't know. What metric are you using to
Socialism?
determine whether or not it is slavery when literally you are working for free because they take everything that you earn? Sounds kind of like how slavery works, but what do I know?
The biggest component of slavery is controlling people to a fucking extent where they aren't even really any different from like a fucking robot. Like that's the whole point of it. Like what the hell is Sargon talking about? I love
I thought it was
Sargon,
weird. I was
but
like,
sometimes he kind of goes on these tangents. But I do like the guy. But
no,
on
I
the other
like him. I
hand,
just thought it was really weird. I thought that was weird.
Well, I mean, like if
I
you
don't know.
could,
I
I
find
think
them a
the whole
little.
point. I think the whole point there is that being enslaved means that you can't leave. You're under someone else's control. If you try to leave, then they'll kill you or
Okay, I have a question for you, Mycroft.
Mm.
Just a scenario. So the U.S. government charges you 100% taxes. How the fuck do you leave?
exactly. I don't know if you've seen the prices for fucking Uber, but you can't even get around Uber for less than like 20
Well,
bucks.
I mean, no, here's the thing though. Like I don't think you literally couldn't do that though. I mean,
Well, no, I'm saying that's the scenario that he gave. If the government took 100%
was
of your income,
context there.
that wouldn't be slavery. They were talking the libertarians saying that tax is theft, and like and then the communists were saying that you're working and then the means of production are taking is slavery. And so he's like, even if the government took 100% of your income, that still would not be slavery. It'd be fucked up, but that's not slavery. Like, but you're literally limited on everything. You are 100% dependent on your shelter, your clothing, your food, your ability to go anywhere other than on foot. And how far are you really going to get because you don't have any food or anything like that?
Well, what if like a
Like
car is part of
100%
the
of your
deal and
entire
it's a
life
house?
is dictated to you by the government because they control everything that you need, which is the finances.
Yes.
Well,
So, well, I mean, if they're just taking your fiat currency, you can still grow food, right? You could still create your own products and barter. I'm
You're supposed to
assuming.
be able to
Perhaps,
get
but
the
how are you going to
seeds.
pay your property tax if you have no money? So you're obviously not owning property. So you don't own the land. So you don't own the food that's grown on that land, even though it's from your labor. You can't sell it because the government's just going to take that money. Right? So everything would basically have to be owned by the government since they control 100% of the money.
Well, that's such a ridiculous statement to begin with, though. Like, what kind of economy would take all of?
I know, yeah. Well, that's what that was my point. Was like 100%. That's definitely slavery. Like, there's no other way to slice that pie. You don't just magically have
wait,
everything
in
else
communism,
because
did
there's
they
no
give
money.
you some income, like in Soviet
Yes.
Russia? Oh,
Yes.
that was nice of them.
That was very nice of them.
No, I don't know what you. I don't know what you
Just
would
millions of
call
people
that.
starved in the streets because the currency was useless.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. The money didn't mean anything, but they
What
did
was
get
the
some.
joke? The government people pretended to work and the government pretended to pay them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, look, let's assume that somehow in some crazy universe that's possible, right? You've set
Well,
up
for a couple
society-
years there was a 90% tax on the upper like 2 or 3% or something like that
Yeah, the luxury tax.
during the space race. But it was a progressive tax at that time too, so it wasn't 90% of your total income. It was in brackets.
Right. Well, I'm just saying. So let's assume that that's possible.
Oh, it is.
I don't. Well, no, not the 90%, the 100% thing, right?
No, yeah, as I said,
I'm
the
not
100%.
sure-
Ask the black people in the South in the 1840s.
I'm not sure I would call that. I'm not sure I would call that slavery. I would. There would be probably a different term. You'd be more like a serf than anything. You know, you'd be like constrained to the land or whatever
would
job
be.
you had to do. But I mean, you wouldn't technically be a slave per se.
Well,
You'd be like
These are very awkward specifications.
okay, so in the serf
Well, I
system,
mean,
somebody
look,
owned the
you're always
land
big
and
on
they let you
arguing
use it,
semantics.
but they didn't take all of your
They're trying to
resources.
define their terms.
Well, they got to
Right,
feed you, right? I mean, the
No,
government's
no. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is everything that you would have to be provided by the government. At least in the serf, you kind of rented the land from the nobleman, so it was his land, but he allowed you to use it and produce the food and things like that, which is what provided you with your income to take care of your family and get the other things you weren't producing yourself. It was a shit existence, but they still had commerce and income and markets. There would be zero market if 100% of your income went to the government. Even if the market existed, you couldn't do a damn thing there. Maybe trade blowjobs for bread. That's about it.
Well,
That sounds like a great system. I would definitely do it.
whatever Sargon was saying there, I would just chalk that up. I would chalk that up to him just talking shit because he does that quite a lot.
Yeah,
Alright.
he does.
Like-
Well, that's what I say. But he goes on to these tangents. Then I feel he puts himself in this hole that now he's in a position that he tries to defend. It's like you shouldn't try to defend that. Just be like, yeah, I was wrong. I went off on a tangent.
Yeah, well, it happens.
I think it's slavery.
I
That's just
actually
me,
saw a sign from the Women's March that was saying
Oh,
he'd
God.
rather have had Joffrey. Like they would have rather had Joffrey as president.
Wow.
Who here watches
Oh.
Game of Thrones for that to make sense?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
All right.
What was no? Somebody made the joke. Who was it? Jimmy Fallon or something like that. Like
What-
everyone wanted to know what would happen if Joffrey didn't die in a couple days. We're gonna find out. That's what he said at like the Golden Globes or
Oh,
whatever.
okay, so it's not
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
original.
no,
then.
it's not original. They stole that joke.
So they would really have like an actual psychotic child killer.
Yep.
They'd rather live in Game of Thrones.
I
You
would.
I
you
would.
I-
It gives me an
See,
excuse to
I
murder them all.
would watch it. I
couldn't
would watch
murder
it,
the
but
people I don't like. That's why.
No, Game of Thrones does not seem like a fun place to be for a woman. So I
Well,
would,
no,
Well,
it's-
I'm not a woman, so not my problem.
This is
unless
the thing,
it was
though.
like Brienne or something.
And I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on here for a minute.
I like tinfoil hats.
So if you're trying to destabilize democratic countries so that you can break down borders and create more of a global government, right?
Yeah.
And
Which is falling apart in Europe. Woohoo! Go France.
and what actually
Le Pen.
happened is Le Pen. I'm all for that. But no, like what happens is Donald Trump gets elected and fucks up all your plans. Well, what do? You've already been using the media to drum up a whole bunch of fear, right? Why not put on something like a women's march? Because here's the funny thing, and I still don't feel like I understand this, but these protests occurred in several nations all over the world.
Yeah, it was organized.
Yeah, there was one
there's
in
definitely
fucking
puppet.
Toronto.
There's a puppet master behind those strings.
Right, and there
And there
they're
was an
trying to
immigrant
say-
protest the next
His
day.
name is George Soros. In case
Yeah.
anybody didn't catch
Well,
that.
they're trying to say that it was one woman in Hawaii that organized all of this over a Facebook group.
Sure she did.
I'm sorry, but I find that very hard to believe.
I've tried organizing things with women. It's not that easy, and I would
Wasn't
not
that
think a woman is
Linda
the whole
woman with the hijab who has terrorist ties apparently, but then doesn't? I don't know. Apparently, I don't know. But
I was
she
gonna
the
blame Christy
organizer?
Winters and call it a day. That was.
No, there was the Linda. What's her face? She's the organizer of the Women's March. She wears a hijab, and that's
Yeah, yeah.
stupid.
Don't they all?
God,
I know so many people that are really like ex-Muslim women who are really pissed off about that.
We're
Pissed
making
off about that
Sigyn be
woman.
ashamed of her sex.
And
Good, she should be.
I'm
You should
definitely
be
one of them,
ashamed.
Mycroft. Definitely one of them. I used to be a Muslim, and I'm pissed off of that shit. It's like, oh, it's so liberating, bitch. Hush. What are you talking about?
It's amazing the people that they had. 3 pop out. It's obviously the Muslim woman. I don't remember her name now.
it's like Linda.
There was
something.
Linda. Okay.
So that's a very Muslim name.
There was one of the Communist Party leaders who was one of the organizers, and then there was also that woman who
Linda Sarsour, and
Yeah.
she's accused
Persian?
of being anti-Semitic and affiliated with Hamas.
no, but and then there was another
not Persian?
there was another woman who was speaking who was I believe it had something to do with Black Lives Matter or another organization. Don't quote me on that. But this woman was in jail for like 20 years because she captured a man, tortured him to death, and then got caught.
Hell yeah.
And now
I
they're
know.
putting
Yeah, I
this-
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and now
Oh,
they're
yeah,
putting
the
this
chat
woman
is
up on
telling
a
us.
pedestal.
Thanks, Frederick.
And so this is the thing though.
She's
These
a
are the
hero.
people. These are the people they let speak, right? But they don't let the pro-lifers in.
Hell no.
What
You
what
guys
kind
see
of
the
sense
pictures
does that
circulating?
make?
Hey, you can torture and murder somebody so long as they're under 9 months old. It's fine.
You can support communism, which has killed millions upon millions of people
Still
throughout the course of
killing,
history.
still killing
Yeah,
millions
they're
and
still
millions of people.
they're
The
still at
death
it.
toll
They're still
hasn't
killing people.
stopped.
Yeah,
Well,
that ticker's still going.
here's,
Just like the national debt, that ticker just keeps rolling.
Thanks, Obama.
here's my whole question about this whole marching thing, right? It's just that I kind of noticed this pattern. Like, for some reason, the left likes pedophiles. The left likes pedophiles. The left likes people who abuse and murder people. What the fuck is going on here? Am I in, in a
Okay,
goddamn
Oh, I
twilight
can
zone?
explain it. I can
I
explain.
can explain it too. Who wants to go
Oh,
first?
go ahead.
Okay, so I have this theory that the left is completely full of people that were sexually and traumatically and emotionally abused. And to keep it going, they need to create a society where everyone is constantly sexually and emotionally abused. So that's why they're bringing in all the Muslims. They're accepting the pedophiles. They want prisoners' rights. They want all the murderers and wife beaters and fucking all the craziest people back out in the street, so everyone can live a nice, happy, mutually abusive life all the way around.
Well, here's well, hold on. Here's the other problem is that is that when you look at Muslims, my problem with this is you're gonna kick out all the pro-lifers. Well, the thing is, when you go to Muslim countries, and I can tell you this for a fact, most of them are pretty pro-life too. They don't allow abortion in their fucking country. They don't allow that shit. No. So why are you supporting Islam?
Because Islam gives them money to create upheaval in the Middle East and just allow them in. Remember, Islam
You
just needs
didn't
a way
hear?
in.
The
Once Islam
fucking
makes a way in, then it
the Clinton
reestablishes itself
Foundation's
as.
dried up. They're not funding shit no more.
Yeah, that's true.
It's because
She lost.
they
She's
make
cut
their
off.
own version of whatever Islam means to them, and then they decide that this is not my version, and then
No.
I don't know. People, no.
No. Okay, they have this
Okay,
like
okay,
their
but
empathy
quick
feeling,
question.
like they want to feel empathetic, and they kick it into overdrive. So anybody they feel that somebody is against, they want to run and defend them, kind of white knight for them, to make them feel important, like they're doing something, like they're enacting change because their life has no meaning, they have no purpose. They were told they could be anything. Now they're a fucking 25-year-old barista who barely graduated
Woo.
college with a gender studies degree, and they realize their life is shit and has no purpose. And they're like, oh, I could have been anything. Now they're going to go out there and try to be something. And they don't
Wait,
care
what?
what it is. They're just going to attach their flag to something.
Okay, but then
But
why are they putting Majid Nowruz on the list of like anti-Islam people when he's an
Because he
actual
was
Muslim?
talking about having reformation of Islam. Like they need to go through like Christianity and Judaism went through. Because in Judaism, they used to sacrifice animals. They don't do that shit anymore. Right? They had a reformation and they became more modernized. And that's what he's advocating for Islam. He's like, we need to get there. Let's help and push and urge them to that. And then they're like, oh, so you think they need to change. So now you're marginalizing the Muslims who don't want to have a reformation.
Mm.
Because they're going to jump on anything that they can to take the opposition to fight for something.
Well, it's
well,
all emotionally based arguments. That's the thing
Exactly.
is they don't
Yeah.
respond to reason anymore.
Yeah.
And when you get to that point, when the only way that you can inspire that type of people is through emotional appeal, it's any way the wind blows. You know,
Yes.
so that's why they've gone
It's
towards pedos because there's so much, quote unquote pedo hate out there now.
Exactly. See.
Well, the other problem that I'm having is that the whole idea of being a traitor, it is so fickle. Like I could have someone who's a Muslim who completely hates women, and there are plenty of Muslims out there who are definitely like that. And that person isn't considered a bigot. They aren't considered a monster. But let me, a black guy, say that I don't like Hillary. And in Minecraft, you saw some of the fucking screenshots, right? You saw this shit. Like, it
I
was
saw
fucking
some.
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got
It's
called.
fucking
You got called
insane.
Uncle Tom, motherfucker.
You got to do a counter for every time you're called an Uncle Tom or a race trader, and just have
I've
like a
already done
running
that,
counter.
and I counted it for the past calendar year of 2016. It was 1,000. Hold on, let me see. Let me go on my phone real quick. Okay, here it goes. 1,261.
Yep. That's low. You're doing good. Tommy Sotomayor. Of course, he really antagonizes him. He's way up there. If you go to one of his videos, that's how many he's got on any one of his videos. Oh,
But
yeah.
I
I
like
like him. If
Tommy.
you don't watch him,
I
yeah,
like
I love
Tommy.
Tommy.
I love Tommy because
I hate his
Tommy
white fans though.
he
There's a bunch of
triggers the fuck
racists
out of
there.
them.
Well, there's a bunch of racists, and whenever he says something, like he talks exactly the same, no matter who the race is. But as soon as it's a white person, you see the white racists who do watch his shit because they like, the negative shit that he says about other races. But he says it about everybody. Like he's not racist. He has the same negative shit. He finds it doesn't matter what the race is. He's going to talk about it, and then they get upset with him when he says something about a white woman. It's like, well, she deserved it. There's some fucking
She was
nasty ass
asking
bitches.
for it.
There's some nasty ass bitches out there doing some fucked up shit. Let's say I like his video. He gets a lot of hate, and I know why, but
Well, the thing is that Tommy literally made himself famous off of hate. Literally, like
Yep.
he's pretty much Milo before there was ever a fucking Milo.
yeah.
It's just so ridiculous. When somebody calls you a race traitor, the first thing that pops into my head is Hitler. It was like, okay, well, why don't you go get the Fuhrer, and I'll have a chat with him, and we'll talk all about the whichever race you're protecting right now.
It's crazy because it's not even the black liberals. It's the white ones. They're the ones doing this shit.
Oh yeah. What is it? The pro blacks. There's like that whole YouTube group of them. They make videos about him, but other than that, yeah, it's pretty much white people who are attacking him for being a racist and a race traitor, call him an Uncle Tom and all this shit. As I've said numerous times, the left, the white folks, they pretty racist. Probably the most racist people I've ever seen.
But it's okay. But it's okay because they've given their Hail Marys. They've admitted to it. They know how racist they are. They have to whip themselves several times a day. Let at least one black guy.
No, I'm saying they go out and attack. Like they attack somebody who is of a different race.
Yes.
Calling them a race traitor and whatever racial
Projection.
slur.
We all know about.
No, I'm saying
guys.
whatever racial slur would apply. That if any of us said it, that they would fucking call for a hate mob to lynch us.
Yes.
And they do the exact same
projection.
shit.
Well, it got so crazy that the point that I had Ben Peters, Benjamin Peters, he's actually a Democrat delegate, and he actually posted on my Facebook page. He's like, I don't agree with my real name's Dion. He's like, I don't agree with Dion with pretty much anything, but what you're doing is disgusting. You need to stop because people like you cause us to lose. And I'm like, holy shit! I didn't think that I was like that popular. Like I don't even have like that many subs, but people who are Democratic delegates are speaking up for me. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, they're out there. More and more. The left is starting to get the wool removed from their eyes. And starting to see what the fuck's going on.
You need the left to double down. You need them to go crazy. You need them to start burning a flag a day outside of every business in America. For people to wake up and see what fucking giant morons their kids have become because they didn't take a goddamn interest in their lives. And they let the left completely brainwash them with their idiotic education about fucking everything being a social construct.
Well, yeah. I was telling you, the selfish parents. Right, they're trying to keep up with the Joneses at the expense of taking care of their kids. You see it more and more, and obviously the big problem is like single parent households, mothers, trying to work and support their kids or being on welfare and not trying to work and setting a bad example. But even if they're working, they're trying hard to support their family. That just makes them an absentee parent with no other parent there to take care of the kids. So then the kids are basically raised by the education system and their peers at school. And either way, it's a bad situation. You either have a shit example at home or no example. And so there isn't anyone really there to take care of their kids. Then you have the people who are more interested in getting a new car to show off to their coworkers and things like that. We created a shit society, basically. Thanks, the greatest generation. You guys fucking suck.
Yep.
Fucking baby boomers. Just die already.
Thanks for leaving us alone on the internet while you went out and partied.
I know. This is why Arthur is porn now. This is fucking horrible.
This is the thing is that I wish the original people back in the 60s who were actually advocating for actual like legal rights and shit had actually said that. They'd just been like, look, we just want the legal rights. As soon as we get the legal rights, we'll go our own way.
Yeah, there was
even the ones that actually did that, they're getting demonized. Like, okay, so Martin Luther King III goes to fucking Donald Trump and tries to talk about inner city issues, like fucking Chicago, a fucking war zone. And what happens next? He's called a coon. Martin
Yeah.
Luther King the third is called a goddamn coon.
Hold on. Have you seen the most recent thing where they're demanding that you start moving away from Martin Luther King because he's irrelevant now? That's I think what was that MTV? Who
Yes.
the fuck said that
They're
recently?
starting to demand the opposite of what he advocated for.
Yes, because he
So
said
they
judge a
can't
person by the
have him as a
character,
hero.
by his character, not the color of his skin. They're like, well, that doesn't fit our narrative whatsoever. So fuck
I
Martin
haven't
Luther King.
seen that, and it's maybe like
Yes,
one
you
idiot
have.
saying
Yes, you
that.
have. Okay, guys, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. You have seen it. You've seen it on John Oliver. Remember when
Yeah,
that
I've
little
seen
kid, the little
multiple
white kid?
people saying that shit.
When the little white kid fucking would put on blackface for fucking Halloween or whatever, because for Black History Month or something, because he wanted to like dress up like Martin Luther King, his hero, white kid, suburban family, Martin Luther King, his hero. Apparently, the fucking class freaked out, and the teacher fucking tried to have the kid suspended. The kid's like fucking 10.
I don't even think he
10.
was that old. Wasn't he like 6?
He was something like that. He
I thought he was
couldn't
like a
talk
really
properly.
little kid. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really little kid. But his parents are like, what's wrong with him? Like, what's wrong with him wanting to dress up like Martin Luther King? Put on a suit, put on a tie. Yeah, okay, they put a little bit of shit on over like all over his face. But the kid idealized Martin Luther King. There's nothing wrong with that. But they demonized him on national
they
television.
have been saying like
on
because people
national
have brought
television.
up. You can see it in the SJW videos. People will bring up something and they'll quote Martin Luther King and they're like, "That's not relevant today. That's not what we're talking about." They're like, like get off Martin Luther King. Quit trying to throw him at us. Like, yeah, he was
That-
great. Let's get over it.
I watched a fucking stream with Sargon. He had this Black Lives Matter supporter on, and he was like, "Well, Martin Luther King was more radical than you think he is." What the fuck is radical about saying treat people by the content of their character and not the color of their fucking skin? What the hell is so radical about that?
Man,
I
he
know,
was
right?
so radical
I don't
the
think
way
that's
he
what he
did
meant.
See what
fight
they'll
back.
do. What they do though with Martin Luther King Jr. right is they'll start quoting the books or the papers that he was writing while he was in jail. Now, I don't know if anyone here has been arrested for political activism,
That's
but
funny.
when you're in jail, you're not having a great time. So I guarantee you, if anything that he did right, and I honestly haven't looked at it.
What is it with the left and really loving prisoners, especially political prisoners, Carl?
I know, Mycroft. What the fuck? Why don't you
And-
hop off the prison dick?
Asada Shakur.
Malcolm X.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Prison that they love to quote. Che
Who else?
Guevara.
Nelson Mandela. Fuck Nelson Mandela.
Because it's the. I'm not even.
Yeah, I said it. Come at me.
Well, no,
Don't
my
do
point
it.
being though is that what he was critical of back then was a different time.
Yeah.
So they take his
Well-
papers out of context, right, and they try and apply those papers, the ones where he was very angry, to current day, and it's like we don't live in that age anymore. That
You mean when he was in jail when the Democrat president's the guy running as the Democrat nominee for president told Martin Luther King Sr. that if he didn't endorse that gentleman, that Martin Luther King Jr. would stay in prison, or they would release him if he came out and publicly endorsed him? That guy, what was his name? JFK? JFK? That guy? The one who also praised Nazi Germany and said the Aryans were the superior race? that JFK, I think that was the guy.
Who it was? Maybe it was Dave Rubin or someone on Dave Rubin, but they were talking about how there was a party shift, and maybe it's going back because apparently
They're
the
fucking liars.
No, but
There was
the
never a
Democrats
party
were
shift.
like originally the ones who wanted slavery
shit.
and wanted
We-
all of
we-
the
we-
bad
They
stuff.
still do. They have poverty or income slavery over black communities. They are constantly
if
in
you
charge of.
subsidize
They're
everything,
they're constantly
everybody
doing.
becomes a slave. We just talked about this. If the government
Go
controls
live
100%
in
of
a
your
predominantly black community, and you will see how much government control there is there, and it's run by Democrats.
Well, that actually brings up another topic, and
Wait,
it's
so
something that I've
welfare
been
is slavery?
income, yes.
What?
I was-
Welfare is
was-
slavery?
what? I'm
I'm
sorry.
asking
don't know
saying
what
welfare
is welfare
is slavery.
Welfare is literally slavery, but it gives you a slavery mindset. It basically makes you indentured servants to a vote, basically. And the whole idea is the same way that you train a dog. You give a dog a bone, he say, hey puppy, if you roll over, you'll get a bone. And every time, that's just how welfare works. And it's so powerful with the black community. It's a fucking stranglehold. It drives me fucking mad. Like, it's like people. Give the other side a chance. What you've been doing has landed you in the worst poverty fucking stats, the worst abortion stats, the worst schools, the worst violence, the worst drug problems, the worst child abuse, the worst of everything. And you keep trusting these people. Fool me once, shame
Exactly.
on you. Fool me
Wait.
twice, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, a million damn times. Shame
I
on
don't
me.
think
I'm
there's
a
a drug
goddamn
problem in the
idiot.
Black community,
No,
though.
no, I will take the more nuanced position because it's not completely on the black community because they do. You're talking 60, 70 plus decades or 6 or 7 plus decades of Democrat control in these black neighborhoods that have been steadily getting worse. Poverty hasn't got better, and these campaign promises are constantly made, and they keep reelecting the same people. But you also have other people who are of legal voting age. You also have a lot of people who are criminals that can't vote and have had their right to vote taken away. But there's a lot of other situations, and voting just really is not a priority in those communities because you're trying not to have your kids shot or taken into a gang or get your house robbed. And there are other things that kind of distract them, but those politicians are making it. And if they got out and they voted and they got those people out, it would make it better. But it's kind of hard to see the forest through the trees when you're in that shit situation.
And the statistics don't support that there's probably black people who have drug problems, but black people don't use more drugs than white people. Like,
We're talking
No
about
one said
population
that.
size.
Yeah,
pardon?
and that
We're
is
not
also a
talking
big
about
factor.
overall use.
Right. There's a lot of drugs, like the crack cocaine, where they talk about the disproportionate sentencing. Uh, what was it? Black community activists. I can't remember. There's like 2 or 3 groups, but they were actually lobbying the government to make those laws, to make it harsher
Yeah, no,
punishments, because it was ravaging and tearing apart the black community. So the actual drug use, it has gone down from what it used to be, but that's because those laws were put in place.
all I'm saying is that when you look at drug use statistics based on ethnicity, it's white people, and this has been repeated in
No
all through
one's
the
saying it
United
isn't.
States. Yeah, so no, I
You're detracting from the topic at hand, like a feminist. Just saying.
okay.
Because you're like, white people do more
Wait,
drugs.
hey,
Yeah.
hey.
No,
What does that
I'm
have to
saying
do with the 16-year-old kid who's getting drugged into gang violence because he was wearing the wrong color walking down the street? What does that have to do with some white kid accidentally shot his friend one time in the woods? Shit, all to do with each other.
okay.
Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So white people doing more drugs doesn't really have anything to
I
do with
just saying
the
drug use
problem that's
isn't
going on in that
necessarily
community.
the problem in the black community. There's
No
other
one said it was. It's one of the problems. No one said
Yeah.
it was the main problem. We actually blamed the politicians, actually.
Okay.
Drug use. It may not be drug use, but it's also. I mean, you have to look at drug trafficking. I mean, there are other things that go into that problem. And here's
Well, there are
the
the things
thing
that
too.
come with that problem, actually, I would say.
You've got to. The black culture itself does reinforce that sort of lifestyle as well through media.
Which is counter to MLK Jr.'s narrative,
And
right?
well, and it's not only
It was I can't remember what it was, but he was having like an interview, but he was talking about like dress the part, interact with people on their level, like being respectful. It's the same shit that you get taught when you're like in business classes where they talk about showing respect and shaking hands and making eye contact, and it was basically along those lines, like meet them where they are. Like if you're trying to work in an environment, you want to fit into the environment that you're in. You don't want to otherize yourself, which the black community's narrative now, like you see it a lot, and like you talk to the cops, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like you pay attention in school and you're getting good grades. Other kids tell you that you're acting white. Like they're otherizing themselves and actually making
Yeah,
the
that
situation
happened
worse.
to me a lot.
Yeah.
Even now, I had someone leave a comment on one of my pictures, and they were saying that basically I was Uncle Tom just because of the way that I dress. It's like I'm wearing a suit and a bow tie. The fuck?
Right. Yeah. There's absolutely nothing racial about that, and they make it a racial thing, and then make you feel bad as though you're betraying like your own personal heritage and background because you're doing something that they don't like,
But
that they're not doing.
like even with the getting pulled over statistics where they say black people are more likely to get disproportionately pulled over or
Well, that's been debunked.
Yeah, it actually has.
Well, yeah.
They get pulled over more often, but it's because they're typically they've got like a back light out, or there's something that has caused them to be pulled
But
over. That's
I
obvious.
was
And compared to the ticketing, there was actually like in New Jersey where there was actually a lawsuit. When they went out and they watched the traffic infractions, they set up the cameras and things like that. There was actually a higher percentage of those infractions being committed by black people than were being pulled over and ticketed for that crime. So compared to the amount of crime that was being committed, they were actually being ticketed at like 6% less, I think it was.
right, but I'm saying we all like I feel like most people do get pulled over, but because there's that narrative that black people get pulled over more, it's more of an event for them, and so because all of these are self-reports. Even
Right.
when they do these kind of, and then also a lot of the times when they're pulling over someone, it's because they match a suspect, right? Like they match some sort of description of a suspect, and so therefore there are more white people than there are black people. And if the suspect is black, don't you just have a proportionally more chance of getting pulled over if you're black?
How do
as
you
opposed to-
positively identify someone in a car? I mean,
I don't
that's
even
Well,
know.
okay, so it'd be something like, let's be very stereotypical, tall black man with dreadlocks.
But
You
even
could-
if it
you
was a
could
tall
spot a
white
black man, you can
more
tell
of
that
them.
all you can see his hair, right? So you're like, that might be the guy. You pull him over, look at him, like, okay, that doesn't fit the rest of the description. So you have to, have a basis of generally like bald, fat black guy, bald, fat Mexican guy, guy with a Fu Manchu, guy with a beard.
right,
You know
but
what I
when
mean? These big things, and then you have to get close to actually confirm whether or not it's who you're looking for.
But I'm just saying, like, if their suspect is a fat white guy wearing a baseball hat, because there's so many more of them, there's less chance of you as an individual being pulled over. But because there's less black people, if it's a black guy with a baseball hat or whatever,
Well, that
you
was
have
far less descriptive, you racist.
Ugh.
Did his shit cut out, or did he feel that we're all a bunch of white people white-splaining race issues?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
He said he's gonna come and go. He
Oh,
he
okay.
said that he
No,
might
I was
have
gonna
to feed his kid or something.
I was gonna let you go, but I wanted to cut in and be. You said fat white guy wearing a baseball cap to black guy wearing a baseball cap.
I forgot the fat part. Sorry.
Exactly. That makes you a bigot. I just want you to know that.
Okay.
Aren't we all though, guys? Aren't we all?
Of course.
Just think within. Just look within ourselves. What are we doing if not
No,
projecting
see,
insecurities upon the left?
This is why I got to point it out, Siggy. I told you 2017 is going to be the rise of the ethno state people, like the people who want that. So we gotta make sure we don't get lumped in with them. All right, which we probably will anyway.
I'm gonna be the
Hey,
reason
look.
we get lumped in with them.
Yep,
Really,
exactly.
Trigger? I'm
Yes,
gonna be
you
the
are.
one.
You are.
Hey, there's
I
a
blame
black
you.
man
You are
on
trying
the
to divide
screen.
us.
There's a black man on my screen.
That's what's gonna happen when we all blame it on you. So
Where's Troy? Tell him to call the cops.
Although, okay, so like everyone in my family has been freaking out over this 30-day Muslim ban.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, just to clarify, it is a ban on immigration, so people coming in, so they're not approving
No,
any
but
visas.
also
It's not a
visas,
big
yeah.
deal. No, that's how you get in. There's no
I've been
they're
trying to
they're
explain
not
this all day,
approving your
guys.
visas
No,
I've been
but
for
trying to
30
explain
days
this
while they audit the screening process of letting people in. So they're auditing that process. Once they're like, this is good, or they make up new changes to it,
they're
then the
going
freeze
to
is
make
gone.
a list
No
of
one's
the
being
information
arrested.
that
No
they
one's being
require.
kicked out. No, they're
Right,
not.
but it does say in the document that if you have a visa, if you are on a work visa or a student visa in the United States and you happen to be outside, you might not be able to get back in.
Yes.
But then I don't
And?
know if that's permanent. Okay, I'm looking into the document. I'm actually going to do a video on it because I need to calm
Okay.
people.
But here's the thing: if you're not in the United States, there's a freeze.
Well,
if you're already here,
Right.
you're not getting deported. You're not getting
for
kicked out.
30 days though, and that's the
Yeah,
thing.
no, that's
It's not
fine.
as
As long as
the
it's
only
30 days.
That's
The
not a
only
huge
reason-
deal, honestly.
the only reason that they're going to go through and take your visa away is if you get linked to something like, I don't know, terrorism. They're not just going to be like, they're not just going to randomly be like, okay, well,
see, guys, we're
Okay,
not, you're
but
not supposed
right
to talk
now
about
the
this.
ban is it doesn't matter whether you're linked or not. They're not going to look into it. If you are
The ban is for everybody
Yeah.
equalaterally all across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
you're
an
from those
immigration
countries.
freeze.
They're saying
Yes.
no. Is it
only
is
from
it,
those countries.
is it
Are you
only
sure?
from those countries or is
For
it only
Iran,
from
Syria,
you're
Iraq.
yelling over people again? Is it
I'm-
only from those countries, or is it
Yes.
everyone?
It's
everywhere?
from those specific
From those
Islamic
specific
countries.
countries.
Okay. Is your sister from one of those Islamic countries?
Yes.
Are you sure she's from there and not
I'm
from
from one of
Canada?
those
Yeah,
Islamic
Syria,
countries.
Iran, Libya, Somalia, Yemen, Iraq, and Sudan.
Okay,
Countries that are hotbeds for terrorism.
will her sister be affected by this when her sister has been growing up her
No,
ass
she is
since
in
she's
the United States.
since
She
like
will
the
be
age
fine.
of 5 in
She is
Canada
in the United States. She'll be
But she's scared she can't leave now.
for
for 30
days.
days.
No, like
Was she
permanently.
planning to go somewhere?
Like
No,
if she
well,
wanted
it's
to
not
come
her.
home and visit us and then get back in.
She would be. She could drive across the border right now. You know how easy it is to get across the Canadian border. I can go walk across and come right back, and I don't even need to take my fucking wallet.
Want to go
It
grab a
depends what
coffee
road you
trigger?
take.
Let's
All right?
meet.
It depends what road you take. That's it.
Well, no,
Not
the,
saying I've
Okay,
done it.
okay,
I'm just
okay.
saying it's
Anyways,
possible.
I didn't want to get into this too much tonight.
well, no, the visa rules aren't. Are the visa rules are not changing. I mean, if you're, they're just all they're doing right now is they're just basically reviewing the metrics that they've used in the past for allowing people in, and that's it. That's all there is
Yes,
to it.
and then no, but then they said that they're going to decide what requirements are adequate, and if these countries meet these requirements, and then if they don't, they're going to give these countries 60 days to provide or to like I don't know, revise their system to provide this adequate information. And then if they do not comply, this ban it might be permanent. And the thing is, Iran's government is a piece of shit and doesn't give a shit about its people.
I thought
so
you were
it
going to
might
speak
not
out against the
comply.
Iranian
Well, hang on,
government.
hang on,
Oh.
hang on, hang on.
I shouldn't
So
do
your
that.
sister-
Let's
your
erase
si-
that part.
Your sister's
meant-
on an H-1B visa right now.
She's on
Probably.
a work/school visa.
But
and
she's
been
trying
in
to
the
switch
States
to
for
a
like
J1
8
now.
years.
She's freaking out, so she's trying to figure
Is
out.
it a work visa or a school visa? Because the
She
F1
was
is
on a school. She was on a school visa because she was doing a postdoc, but now she's switching. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
So if she's the visa that she was on during school is an F1 visa. It's basically it's there for a year and then you have to renew. And you usually go through your 4 years on that, and then after that you'll transfer over to an H-1B visa under a work contract with whoever's sponsoring you,
Yeah.
which is good for usually about 3 years before you have to go through and renew it. So where did she come from? Canada, I'm assuming initially with you.
Yes.
Yeah, like, but we were born in Iran, and then we are citizens of Canada. I was 2 when we came. She was 6.
So
what
does she
you
have dual citizenship or Canadian citizenship?
I don't know how this works because we.
How do you
we
not
are
know? It's
all-
your citizenship.
Well, yeah.
Because look, we go back to visit, and we have
I
passports,
understand.
although we don't renew our passports.
Are they
but I don't-
Iranian passports?
Yes, which means
Okay.
that we probably
Have you
are
applied
citizens.
for your Canadian citizenship?
I am already. A
Well,
Canadian.
if you have a passport from Iran, then yes, you are an Iranian citizen. So you have
They're
dual
not gonna, it's
citizenship.
not like they're gonna send her
But
back
it's
to
probably
Iran.
expired right
They're
now.
gonna if
You're still a citizen unless you renounce your
Yeah.
citizenship.
if worst comes to worst, right? Basically, they're gonna send her back to Canada. It's not like she's gonna get a plane over to Iran or
No,
something.
obviously not.
Right. So
Because that
And
would be
I
ridiculous.
honestly
And-
don't
no,
think
but
her
here's the
job
thing
and
is she
position
can
would
appeal
allow
that.
her. Yeah.
see, I don't think you
Her
understand how
job
free of a
is-
country this is because you live in socialist Canada. She can appeal it if she does get kicked out, and I mean it
I
can't
know,
take
but
like
it's just
18
like
months
like
to
it's
2
just
years.
like it just sucks.
I know,
It just
the
feels
30
shitty.
yeah,
guys,
but no,
the
it
30-day
shouldn't feel
inconvenience.
shitty.
It's so bad, guys. The
50
30-day
dead
inconvenience.
homosexuals in Florida should feel shitty, not a minor inconvenience to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I understand. I'm
Right?
I'm
Like,
gonna,
explain
I'm
to her,
actually
be like,
looking into
if
this. Yes.
people weren't murdering people all across Europe, we wouldn't have any need for concern.
Well, I think so. So I'm gonna. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm gonna make a confession that I think Persians specifically are pissed because they're mad that they got mixed up with this crowd. And they're
Well-
like, "We're the good ones. We're different. Why are you mixed
Iran.
up with
Well, I mean, come on. We know the right wing in the United States is not a
people are-
fan of Iran.
Yes.
We know
Also, the Persians of the United States are not a fan of Iran's government. Nobody likes.
I
its
know,
government.
but a lot of the white racist conservatives, as I keep getting told, they just lump you all in together.
But then
I-
a lot
I
of them
keep
also
told
watch
about
Shaws of
racism.
Sunset. So I don't know
This
what
is
the
the
fuck
thing,
is
like,
going on
the
in the
Cubans,
States.
all these fucking white liberals in the Western world were mourning over the death of Castro, while actual Cubans who had to build rafts out of trash to get to
We're
Florida
partying.
are celebrating in the fucking streets, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
he was such a great guy." Really,
Yeah.
go down there to Little Havana and tell that to them to their fucking face.
They'll beat you in the street.
Exactly. Fuck, I hate the left so much.
So where are we on that article?
Well, the transgenders are mad because they have penises, and they feel
And
that they're being
more
marginalized because they're saying that womanhood equates having a vagina, so they feel marginalized. So
I'm
they're
gonna
starting
order
to eat
one of those
themselves. That's
vagina
what's gonna
hats and then
happen.
write "grab me" on it.
Oh my
Could you not?
god! Don't. You're gonna
I
give
have
money.
a virus.
You're gonna put money in Soros's pocket. No, somebody hand knitted those. There was a group of feminist women.
Not
who
all,
hand
guys,
knitted
not
all
all.
of those hats.
Not all. I
They
watched
gave them
that
out
video.
for free too.
Look, even my video fucking thumbnail from that shit, it doesn't have a knitted hat. It has some kind of weird hat. So some kind of
Well, yeah.
Okay,
They got
our
lazy
cat
and
is
started sewing
using
them. Yeah,
The
I mean,
book
come
as
on.
a pillow.
They're feminists. They got lazy and busted out the sewing machine. Just saying.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, so
No.
I have 2 articles about North Korea because everyone knows how I love Kim Jong Un. So
North
the
Korea
first one,
Korea.
I just
It's
find
the best
fucking funny.
Korea.
This will make you happy with YouTube, ish. Not happy, but okay. Good job, YouTube. So apparently, YouTube has been banning North Korean content and removing their videos. And apparently
Korea has
is gonna put
content?
their propaganda out there. Yeah, they're pushing out that propaganda.
Do they have their own Netflix? I wonder what their Netflix is.
Well, I mean, like I'm looking at it from YouTube's point of view, but like it's got to be government propaganda. Nobody else has internet, right? So it's got to be fucking like it's the state television shit with their fucking Kim Jong Un's the greatest fucking. I watched one of those things and like there's like a picture of Kim Jong Un in every scene. Like, what
You
the
just
fuck
imagine
is
that?
this?
You just
They
and
probably
his
just
granddad,
do
yeah.
like game shows and reality shows all day. It's probably like the North Korean version of American Idol, just over and over again.
And he's the only contestant, and he wins every time.
Yeah, you just imagine that. He's like sitting in the state building, and he's just like, "We got to get Keyboard Cat." Keyboard Cat.
I wonder if Kim Jong Un is like looking at the YouTube channel, and like looking for the dislike ratio and shit. He's looking at the analytics, trying to find out if he's popular, and then YouTube bans him.
His video gets taken down. Oh god, I bet so many people got executed after that.
I know, right?
we should tweet them. Tell them that YouTube's suppressing us as well.
Tell him to go to Twitch. Tell him to live stream.
Oh.
Fuck. Let's send what's his nuts? Fuck it. The guy who did the Star Wars Episode 7.
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, let's send him to North Korea. Teach him how to make movies. Let's make North Korea great again.
It's really funny. I read this article the other day too about North Korea. He executed one of his State Department officials. It was like some member of his family too. On the very next day, he put out an edict that basically said that sarcasm was no longer legal.
I just want to say, all right.
Like what a boss! It's like having Cartman running your country, right?
That's probably why the video was banned, right? They're
Yeah.
like fucking shit comedy. Like we already got BuzzFeed. We don't need any more. bad comedy.
I might actually, if I was dictator of the world, I might actually put that line.
I actually would like to see the
Told
moment.
you, fucking feminist authoritarian.
I'd
Told
actually
you
like to see the
guys.
moment that like
Confirmed.
Kim Jong Un is watching like a comedy skit and realizes that they're actually like it's actually sarcasm, and like I want to be there when he discovers satire.
I just wonder what that administrator, what his fucking cousin or whatever did.
Probably rolled his
That
eyes.
had something to do with sarcasm, right? He probably like,
He
oh yeah,
probably
we can
made some
totally
shitty
do
comment.
that. We can totally gonna happen. Like, that
We
son
can
of a bitch.
totally prove that we went to space.
That would
first.
be huge.
Yeah,
on you.
we could totally take the U.S. Yeah, totally. You got it, buddy. You fucking got it. And he fucking murders his ass.
How'd
See-
that missile test go? Oh, it was great. It was fucking great, like always.
What was it? Yeah, if I was a dictator, I would do all the executions myself because I think that would help keep the citizenry in check.
Dude,
Oh, you so
No,
you're
no,
like,
like-
the Ned
and, like-
Stark, right? You have to make the cut
Exactly, like,
yourself.
well, just imagine you're like, oh, you're gonna get executed, and like, oh, the
Have you-
fucking leader's coming. You're like, oh, someone's gonna die. But-
have you read about how he executes people? It's fucking ridiculous.
well, he shot his uncle with a cannon.
Yeah,
He shot his
cannons,
uncle with a fucking
anti-aircraft
cannon.
guns, like all kinds of shit, man. The guy's nuts.
So he's just having fun. He is the Joffrey, isn't he?
Do you guys? Well, no. See, you guys might not be aware of this, but he had an older sibling who went to Disneyland and
And never
was
came
then no longer allowed. No, he was then no longer allowed to rule North Korea. He got removed from the Order of Secession because he liked Disneyland.
Not that he went to it; it's that he liked it.
Huh? Well, no. Well, he went to it and he liked it, and he was like, "Oh, it's nice there." But it's funny because Kim Jong Un is building like a 20-star ski resort in North Korea that no North Korean can afford to go to, and that's what takes me to the second article, which is apparently the State Department issued a travel warning for North Korea because apparently somebody was fucking planning on going there. Apparently somebody wanted to go on a winter vacation in North Korea, and they're like, we should let them know that's not a good idea.
Actually, before we start, there was a slight controversy not too long ago. I think it was early last year. When there was a YouTuber that got an all-exclusively paid trip to North Korea to like hang out on the beaches. His entire channel is about traveling the world as a broke motherfucker, but he's not actually broke because he's got like million subs on YouTube. And he went to North Korea, and all he could talk about, just boasted all about it, just how amazing it was, how good
Well,
the people treat you, how amazing the beaches are, how amazing the hotels are, how there's no traffic. Just goes on and on. And
Yeah,
a bunch
there
of-
is no traffic. That is true.
Yeah, you know
that
else-
is
you know
true.
who else did
No one
that,
owns a car.
You know who else did that though? Was I believe Dennis Rodman was pretty good friends
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Kim
he
Jong
went and
Il.
hung out with him. No, but there was a French news agency that went and did a documentary on North Korea, and they had this advisor that had to escort them everywhere, and they could only record what they wanted. But if you watch it, like, you see how fake everything is. Like, everything is a show put on for the fucking camera crew. You know,
Yeah.
and it was supposed to be, removing the curtain of North Korea so you could see what it's like there, and everything was so fake and it was so obvious.
Yeah, I saw that documentary actually, and it was really funny. It's like their intellectual class, because they have those three classes in North Korea, and the intellectual class was the one that but those were the only ones that they were allowed to go and like see and hang out with, right?
Well, of course.
So they went and they were sitting in the house, and there were constant power outages, right? And every
Yeah.
time the power would go out, the families would just sit around the table and blame America for it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just
It's
America's fault.
all America's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the intelligent class, that means the people who hook, line, and sinker the propaganda. They
Yeah.
perform really well in the communist classes.
Well, yeah, it's like basically it's like why you have if you're running a country like that, like a despot, you always have to have a certain number of people, a certain amount of population that's going to love you no matter what. So if the rest of the population starts to be like, you know what, this is bullshit, we're gonna grab our shovels and come to the state and kick some ass. You've at least got an intellectual class that you can convert to manufacturing or whatever the fuck you need to, so that you can keep going. So that's the reason that those people do that.
So, at least 14 U.S. citizens have been detained in North Korea in the past 10 years. That's more than I thought. I'm not going to lie. 14 in the last 10 years. 10
That's-
years.
That many people went to North Korea and got detained.
I know, right? I wonder how many went and didn't get detained. That's the scarier part.
A lot more than you think. I think a lot more than you think. I don't know what the travel resort situation is like.
They are building resorts there, so they're trying to get tourism for some.
Can we look up on like Travelocity how much round trip to North Korea, all expense paid trip North Korea
Go ahead.
costs?
Get on it.
Who would actually
Alright.
travel there?
I don't know. Apparently, at least 14 people, and they were arrested. Well, remember those two fucking Chinese American chicks that got arrested in North Korea, and Bill Clinton had to go save them? He raped them on the plane.
Oh,
So,
that
I got
was a
you out of
payment.
jail.
That was the payment for getting out of North Korea.
Yeah, he flew privately on a plane with those two girls who were detained that he just rescued from North Korea back to was it Washington D.C. or no, not D.C. What was it? New York. So it's a long flight. If you haven't made that flight before, it's a pretty long distance to go. There's definitely some rape going on there. Allegedly. All right. I don't have any facts. Allegedly. All right. I'm just saying.
You're gonna get a knock on your door pretty quick here.
What? Trump to shake my hand? Trump's
No,
president. Deal with it.
it's Hillary personal secrets lawyer.
Oh, good. I want to get in with the Clintons. They got
Yeah.
that hookup. Yeah, get that Saudi Arabia money. Shit, yeah, we'll be a
But
billionaire in like the next
you're
6
gonna have to
months.
change your fucking content completely. You're gonna have to be completely pro.
That's cool. Hey, you want to pay me? I'll say whatever the fuck you want. Fuck it.
All right.
But I got a very, very big price tag. Very big price tag. Anyways, North Korean authorities have detained those who traveled independently and those who were part of organized tours. Being a member of a group tour or using a tour guide will not prevent North Korean authorities from detaining or arresting you. Efforts by private tour operators to prevent or resolve past detentions of U.S. citizens in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, also known as Communist North Korea, have not been successful. So apparently those are all the Americans who went there. They got caught, basically, is what they're... Because if you're American, you're basically the devil in like 80% of the world. I'd also not advise you to travel to Germany right now if you're American. Just saying. If you decided to enter North Korea against the advice of this travel
in
warning...
Germany if you're American?
Nothing. Just lots of your people there doing bad things.
Bad
And the
people.
Germans saying, all the Germans are going to die. It's going to be great. 20 years, there'll be no Germans. It doesn't seem like a place an American probably wants to go hang out. Unless you want to, say your last
I
goodbyes
see.
to the German people.
Yeah. Before it
Wow.
comes to Germistan or whatever the fuck.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh
Oh.
fuck! If you decide to enter North Korea against the advice of this travel warning, you should have no expectations of privacy. All electronic and multimedia devices, including USB drives, CDs, DVDs, mobile phones, tablets, laptops, internet browsing histories, and cookies, are subject to search for banned content. If the Democratic People's Republic of Korea authorities permit you to keep your mobile phone when you enter the country, which is very unlikely, it will not function unless you use the DPRK mobile service, which they monitor everything that happens there, which will enable them... Yeah, it said, there you go. That's what it says.
Yeah, because
next.
the
It
only
monitors all
people
your calls.
the only people who
And
use
tracks
that
your phone.
service are just fucking vacationers in North Korea. No one has a cell phone out
How
there.
how does the country make money?
China.
Yep.
It's just China
Pretty
keeping the
much.
whole country afloat right now.
Yeah,
Russia
they,
takes
they
a
have some
And
trade.
how?
Think of
Russia
all the
t-
worst countries that are like the worst countries. That's who they trade with.
Russia, China, Iran.
What do they have to trade?
Not
That
much.
is a good question. Yeah,
People.
not much, but
Well, the majority of the
now if you
trade
look at
that
South Korea, they got lots of
am I
stuff to trade.
muted?
Yeah,
You're not.
that's because
No,
they're
just no one wants to listen to you.
It's true.
I'm sorry. I'll
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry, baby. Don't be sad.
Now he's gonna go cry in the corner.
No, what do they have to trade?
I
Not
don't know.
much.
I mean, I can look
I
it
looked
up.
it up. Yeah, I did look it up once, but that
Just
was
the
years ago.
tears of their citizens.
No, they trade with the reason that China keeps them around, right, is because they're a strategic ally in the region. If they stop supporting them, then you're pretty much looking at South Korea is going to start, looking north. And they're not going to
Hey,
let that
can we petition Trump to reunify Korea?
happen.
Anybody down with that? Let's do that.
Well, I think the best time to make that happen is when China finally hits the wall.
no, I see. This is
Trump said
how I
that
blow up
America
as a
wasn't gonna
YouTuber.
get involved in other
Hold on.
countries
This is how I
anymore.
blow up as a YouTuber. I create a change.org petition to the president. I make a YouTube video. I link that YouTube video on the change.org, and then I just send it to every fucking email I could ever possibly fucking think of or find. Right? Because Kim Jong Un's gonna have something to say about it, and I'll be internet famous.
Here, let me
And
Do
I'll,
it. See
I'll
what happens.
probably be banned from international travel.
the
for a
cheapest
while.
I've found so far is $81 per night at one of these hotels in North Korea. The highest is about $350 a night.
Ooh.
I haven't
me-
found the actual flight cost. Apparently, it's kind of hard to find flight
You
costs.
can't fly direct from like the majority of Western countries. You'll have to go to like Hong Kong.
I live in Canada. Okay, I'm sure they can get me exactly right into North Korea.
let me screen share real quick, and I'll show you guys what they do. So as you can see here, coal briquettes make up a large portion of their exports. And then we can move over here to the non-knit men's coats and suits.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mollusks make up about 3.7% of their trade. So that's good. Now, if you scroll on down here, you'll see that 86% of their trade goes to China. Now, if China's just
India? What the fuck, India? God damn
yeah,
it.
not
We need to get on
really
that.
surprised
We need
here.
to stop that.
But
We
all
need to
of
stop
this,
India. It's the largest democracy in the world per capita.
basically,
Yeah.
this is my point though, is that North Korea wouldn't exist if it wasn't for China. China, look at
Nope.
that. Export value 2.67 billion. Their total exports are 3.1 billion. That's like their entire trade. All this shit is going to China. So you cut that off, you basically kill North Korea.
I
So-
feel like
North
most
Korea.
countries wouldn't exist if it wasn't for China.
Like Canada? Canada be the 51st through the 55th states?
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Just saying.
They see that needs to be a show. Like alternate realities of where the borders would have been different.
Speaking of weird realities where the borders would have been different, well, what's
Trump's
up with
building a
Russia
wall.
doing that fucking real life Hunger Games?
Oh yeah, I just sent the
I know
link to
that.
that.
Yeah, that came out like a couple weeks back. They were talking about it and promoting it. Technically, everything is still illegal, right? It's just that they're saying that because they'll be out in the middle of Siberia, nobody's going to be really watching. So anything could happen, guys. It's basically they're drumming it up.
No, but they said that they're making them sign waivers that if murder or rape happens.
Every single show,
You
make you
can't
sign that
sue the
waiver.
show. You can't sue the
Yeah.
show. You're still going to fucking jail.
Oh,
Right.
is it?
Oh,
The
Yeah.
really?
perpetrator still committed a crime.
You
It's
can't
just
just
saying
like
that
sign a
the
contract.
producers
yeah,
of
they
the
said
show
the
are not
laws.
culpable.
Yeah, you can't sign a contract and just be like, I absolve myself of all legal requirements by the state.
Yeah.
Like that's not how that works.
So
No.
if you do something to survive. Oh, okay. See. I wonder how that would play out. Okay.
You can't just run around raping and killing. That's not what they're saying. They're saying it could happen.
That's not in the Russian
Yeah,
spirit.
you can't trust the Russians. They might do that, So there's plenty of Russians like that out there. So they gotta cross their T's and dot their I's.
I was listening to Maddox as his podcast, and he was telling a story about how he had a friend who went to Russia, and they were sitting in a bar, and it was just this girl. She was like working on a book or whatever, and she's sitting in the bar, she's writing, and someone goes to her and says, "Take another shot," and she's like, "No, no, I'm okay. I've had enough." And then he takes a gun, he puts it on the table, and says, "Take another shot." And the whole place goes silent, and the girl takes another shot, and then the whole bar starts laughing.
Wow.
Yay, Russia!
That's pretty fucking hilarious.
Apparently, this is a true story.
Well,
Yeah,
different
mixed
culture.
races, so we don't care. Yeah,
I feel like shit like that would happen
we
in
got
Texas
shit to worry
all the
about
time.
here. Don't you know 1 in 3 college women will be raped in the United States in their lifetime?
Is it in their lifetime or is it while they're in college? I need to know the difference.
in
Does it
their
really-
college
does it really
lifetime.
matter? Like, does it
College
actually
lifetime.
matter?
Yes, because those 1 in 3 statistics carried over will guarantee that 100% of women will get raped in their lifetime at all the time.
Well, they already can't make up their minds as to what rape is. So I mean, it's like you're not controlling for all of the variables there, so you can't even make.
Well,
study of it.
Mycroft, if you tell a woman a lie and then you have sex with her, that is rape.
Yep, I heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there we go. Now,
So
basically, if you open your fucking mouth,
Yeah.
So my question is whether it's actually 1 in 3 over their college lifetime, or like 1 in 3 over the first year, 1 in 3 in their lifetime. Because I think if it's in their entire
Well-
college years, then I think they're either never going to have sex.
I believe it was Mary Koss that did the original study.
who
Wasn't it?
came out? Isn't she the one that came out and said that the information was incorrect?
I don't remember. Yeah, University of Minnesota was her alma mater. She works at U of A, actually. Huh, look at that. Yeah, but there was this, the way that they framed the study, right, is they created a scale test. It was like, what was it? It was just basically where they were asking the women whether they had been they had made a whole list of things like, have you ever been raped? Have you ever been sexually assaulted? Have you ever been has someone ever like touched you without your consent? Da 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 da. And anything that wasn't no to these questions got them put into the category of
It was
sexual
still
assault.
only 1 in 3.
What were the answers though? Like unsure?
It was yes or no. I don't
Yeah,
know
it
that
was
fact.
yes or no. I was
And
thinking
the
of it.
question, there was no question, were you raped? Like they asked, like, did this
Well, let's-
happen? Did that happen? Did this happen? And then decided themselves as the questioner whether or not it was rape.
Okay, but they said would be sexually assaulted, not raped. Did they say raped or
They
would
had
be
rape as
sexually
well. So like they asked, like, have you ever had sex while intoxicated? Would be one of the questions, and if you answered yes, they would put that in as you were sexually assaulted or raped.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't actually ask, have you ever been raped? Because that would completely change the results. Because the majority of women who would say they had sex while drunk probably would not say they were raped, unless
Yeah.
they'd actually been raped. So that was the problem, and that, I'm pretty sure that's the same lady who came out and said that, yeah, we did it wrong, and you can't trust those results from our own paper. Because there was 2 or 3 women that did the paper that they keep citing, and one of the authors came out and said, yeah, we did it wrong.
Well,
Basically.
Christina Hofsummer says the real statistics are about 1 in 40 on
Yeah.
campus.
And that's when we're
But Christine Winters says it's 1 in 4, so who are you going to believe?
The person who
I
knows
mean,
the
She is
but
a-
1 in
math.
40,
she is a
that means in
doctor.
a class of like
Well, if you
200, that's like at least 2 or 3 girls.
Okay, but ask grabbed is not the same thing as like.
Yeah, because then that might be 100%. But like, whatever.
Yay, feminism.
Look, I'm just tired of them poisoning the well, and I don't mean that in the argumentative
And
fallacy
you're
type of way.
because
I
well, here's the
literally
problem.
want them to stop putting fluoride in the water and convincing people that they're all victims.
Yeah, I agree.
So is this 1 in 40 out of the entire student body or every year?
Or lifetime. Who
I
fucking
don't.
knows?
I don't know. Those are Christina's statistics. I don't. I
Well, that's what I'm
haven't-
saying. What were her statistics specifically? Because those make very different results. For me, you don't know how to
I
ride a
c-
bike.
She doesn't know how to ride a bike.
A motorcycle.
Oh,
No, I don't know
Um,
match.
I'm pretty sure it's the exact same thing.
Mm-mm. What is?
Riding a bicycle or riding a bike.
No, riding a motorcycle,
Yeah.
a motorized bike.
Keep your balance. Momentum keeps you up.
There's no pedaling or anything like that. The way you turn, counter steering, lots of differences. Brake application is very important. Your cat seems very bad, very mad.
I think your dog seems very mad. I think your
Yeah.
cat is her son.
Okay, I'm gonna go feed the cats because that's what she wants.
So here's
All right.
here's a document you can take a look at here, Siggy, if you want to see.
Well, I'm just looking at Wikipedia at the moment, but
Well,
Of
that's
course
a-
you
that's
are.
a-
Of course.
That's a government
I think
website.
Wikipedia is very accurate most of the time.
Well, that's a
Yeah,
government
I'm
website and a
sure.
study that was done right there. You can actually go down to the table. Completed rape.
Why is it
Rate
not-
of victimization per 1,000 female students was 2.
It's saying that this server cannot be found. Maybe because I'm Canadian, I'm being
Yeah.
discriminated against.
Well, because your government doesn't want the narrative to be broken, so you can't have facts. That's why you get Wikipedia.
Wait, hold on. Is it going there? Okay, measuring rape against women.
Yep, there you go. Now you can just, I mean, if you can read through the rest of it. I'm just going to read off the conclusion paragraph here, and this will kind of you can actually, if you scroll down, there's a couple of grids there that'll show you what we've actually determined based on actual government research. But
Okay.
here's the conclusion, right? This is what they came to. Measuring rape, as well as other forms of sexual victimization, is a complicated and to a degree imperfect enterprise. According to Smith, 1987, page 185, it is the biggest methodological challenge in survey research. The challenges are especially daunting when attempting to discern when, in an intimate encounter, a sexual advance crosses the line from imprudence to a criminal behavior. But the salience of the methodology of measuring rape is intensified even further because the findings are integral to the ongoing debate between feminist and conservative scholars over whether the extent of women's rape is a true social problem or a misguided social construction of reality. No single study, including the comparison between NSVCW and NVACW, can fully resolve this debate. However, the comparison of these studies illustrates several points that are noteworthy for researchers and practitioners. So the point is that it depends on where you draw the line. If you say that any action that a man takes against a woman, whether it be slapping her on the ass or just maybe grabbing her arm or something like that, if you classify those things as rape or sexual assault, yeah, I'm sure you could easily come
Well,
to
it's saying
1
if
in
you
5.
classify any sort of assault against the women, even if it's not sexual by nature, and make it sexual by nature.
If you put it into completely subjective terms, if the woman gets to determine whether she was victimized or not, then as opposed to having an actual legal construct that determines that, which is how we have it here in the U.S. currently. Like, so if you stick your finger in someone's butt, right, that carries a certain criminal consequence. As opposed to how these studies are performed, which is basically like, well, he touched me and I felt violated, therefore I was sexually assaulted.
Yeah, no, and the fact that they're outright teaching you to feel like you're sexually assaulted if that happens.
Which can cause
I mean,
overreporting.
although like I don't have a problem with saying don't touch people you don't know.
Underreporting? Because they keep
So
claiming everything is underreported.
Yeah, they make up a statistic based on numbers that are unknown.
So
Yeah.
they said like 1 in 4 originally, but they said but those numbers are underreported because like a third of rapes don't fucking get reported, so they jacked up the numbers to 1 in 3.
Yeah. But those, I mean, you'd have to look up Mary Koss's study, and I don't have my hands on that right now. I found this instead. I think this is taking both sides and comparing the reporting. But yeah, I think it was Mary Koss who did the original 1 in 3 study, or 1 in 5 was where it started. I think it's 1 in 3 now. But yeah, it just takes everything, every self-reported incident, and counts it as a sexual assault, and that's how they report it. Any little thing, like, so if I mean, I could go up to any guy on the street too, and I could just be like, hey, have you ever been touched without your consent? Like, has somebody ever come up and just like clapped you on the back before?
okay, the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics estimated that 6.1 incidents of sexual assault per 1,000 female students, or roughly 1 in 170 women, occur in the United States.
Sexual
Occur
assault?
annually. Yeah.
Okay.
While it is roughly estimated that 19 to 27% of college women and 6 to 8% of college men are sexually assaulted during their time in college. During a 2006 large study, including students from both 2 and 4 years of college, found that 35 rapes per 1,000 female students over 7 months. And rape was defined by unwanted completion of penetration by force or threat of force. Based on this study of college with 10,000 women could experience 350 rapes per year. So, yeah.
What page are you on?
This is just Wikipedia.
Okay.
What are their citations on Wikipedia? Did you look at those?
Yeah, go look at the citation, because I guarantee you some
Okay,
of
so
that's probably
this
coming
is saying
from.
the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics.
That's the page you're looking at now?
No, that's what their citation is.
Yeah, I asked what the citation said. But
Can you
whatever.
link the citation?
Hold on, let me find it. Here, the campus sexual assault survey. the National Institute of Justice. And
What
it's
year was
saying
that?
that was 2006.
Okay.
Did you link it, or where is it?
I'm trying to get it. It's saying the site can't be reached at this moment. But I will link it, or I will send it to you guys here and see if any of you can open it. Oh, here. Now it opened. It's from the, I think it's the same source that you gave me, Mycroft.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same people who wrote the study that you just read.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying they're misrepresenting facts on Wikipedia?
No. Wait, what? I don't even know what those facts meant on Wikipedia.
Well, it said there was a total of 3,459 in 2006 of forcible sex offenses reported across college campuses in America.
According to what I read?
Yeah. To what you said, the National Institute of Justice, right?
Hold on. Okay, hold on. It
Yes,
said
no? National Institute of
inci-
Justice?
yes, the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics estimated that 6.1 incidents of sexual assault per 1,000 female students, roughly 1 in 170 women, occur annually. They estimated that roughly 19 to 27% of college women and 6 to 8% of college men are assaulted during
Okay.
their time
On the
in college.
National Institute of Justice, it says there was 17.5 million students, and about 0.02% of enrolled students reported forcible sex offenses to campus police or local police in the year of 2005. So 0.02. And in 2005, there was 3,605 total reported for the 17.5 million enrolled students.
Okay. Yes, 2004. Sorry,
Well, I'm saying that's coming from the
2,469
citation
incidents.
at that page. Yeah, that's the total out of 17.5 million students.
Yeah,
It
that's a
does. It
pretty.
doesn't.
Yeah, that's a pretty low percentage.
It is 0.02. It should be lower than that. But when you're sitting there running around saying like 1 in 4, 1 in 3, 1 in 5, now what you've done is people who would be
guys.
fighting the 0.02 and trying to stop that from happening now have to argue with you about why your shit's wrong and nothing's being done about the real issue. Because now we have to tell you that just because he told you his name was George and it's actually Jose, that's not fucking rape. Calm your tits. Right? Instead of actually addressing the woman who was forcibly raped down the hall in the dorm. That's my issue with it.
Yeah, no, that's my issue with it as well. It's minimalizing rape.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a nice little graph that summarizes. If you look through this paper, the pie graph there. Where was it?
Screen share it again.
All right, let me just find it again. This one's a lot longer than the one that I posted. And I missed it.
Oh, there we go.
But apparently, Women's March still wants to march against rape on campus. And apparently, if you don't feel like you need feminism because you don't feel like a second-class citizen, you suck.
What? What the fuck is happening? What
all
are
of
we
the
talking
feminists
about?
all of the feminists are coming out and getting pissed at all of the women who had Twitter posts saying, I don't need the women's march, I don't need feminism, this is stupid, what are you marching for, we have equality. And then they're getting mad and being like, oh, we have equality, well, why don't you say thank you for the women who fought for your equality.
Like who?
Can I read an article?
Good. Yeah.
Okay, here, this one.
I've got that graph whenever you're ready, Sue.
You want to go do the graph first? Go.
Okay.
Hurry the fuck up. God damn. Fucking white people.
I'm on white people time. What do you want from me?
I see my face.
Oh yeah, and it's your face.
There you go.
All right, so let's just let that roll off.
I can't
All
read
right,
that.
so percentage of victims of physically forced and incapacitated sexual assault who experience sexual battery only and rape. So what this is showing is that 95% of people, women specifically, because I don't think this is factoring for both men and women.
Yeah,
95%.
it doesn't count forced to penetrate, but a man being penetrated is counted. Because
So what the interesting thing about this though is that what you can see here is that the actual incidences of sexual assault, forced sexual assault, or battery that didn't result in rape are actually remarkably low. But the numbers do increase when they're incapacitated, which this is the sort of thing that would occur like when you're at a party or some shit.
Yeah.
Right? You pass out, some dickhead comes up, grabs your tit, or tries to grab your tit, and you bat him away. So that's basically what you're looking at there. And even at worst, right, you're looking at about 12% of women.
Who had some dickhead come up to them and harass them while they were drunk.
and to play the feminist side of it, there are men who see that kind of shit and don't say anything, and you're a bitch, really.
No, see, this is a great way to get the shit kicked out of you. I can't
Exactly. It should be, but it happens in college. I mean, look at that. Look at that. You're talking almost 20%, right? For the incapacitated. What was it?
12, I said.
Is that 80? Yeah. Okay. So okay. I thought that was an 83.9, but all right.
12%, yeah.
As I said, it's a little blurry on my end. Okay, so 12%, but that means what? She went into a room and passed out, or like the Brock Turner thing where he said she consented, but she passed out during the act, and that's when the other people came up, right? Like there are different details that go into it, so it really depends what's classifying. Like in the state of California, if you have one sip of alcohol and you have a vagina, you no longer have the ability to consent to sex. So whether she says yes and begs and pleads to have sex with her, if you're in the state of California, you cannot legally have sex with a drunk person or intoxicated in any way, shape, or form.
Actually, like that's official. That's for real.
That's the law, yeah.
That's the yes means yes laws, yeah.
Yep. So if you have had anything to drink as a female, you lose your right to consent.
Yep. Fuck women's rights. After you get intoxicated, you don't get
That's
anything.
equality. Women don't have the right to consent to sex. How cool is that?
How? Okay.
Yeah, but see,
It seems like we're working away from equality. But my point is this: that would fall under being incapacitated, even if she consented. So it really depends how they're doing the statistics. And now, since that's not a federal law, I would hope that they don't include those type of things.
No, this report's way too old for that.
Right.
It's 2006.
Well, I mean that's been the law for quite a while in California.
Yeah, but
it was the law in 2006. I know that.
Was
so
it?
can I read this article that says you were not equal? I'm sorry to all women who think that they're equal.
Sure, I had that one loaded up, but go for it.
Okay. So this article by the Big
Did you
Picture.
post it?
I did.
Okay.
Okay. You are not equal. I'm sorry. A post is making a round on social media in response to Women's March on Saturday, on January 21st, 2017. It starts with, I am not a disgrace to women because I don't support the Women's March. I do not feel like I am a second-class citizen because I'm a woman. This is my response to that post. Her response is that you are a second-class citizen, essentially. But let's see why. Say thank you. Say thank you to the women who gave you a voice. Say thank you to the women who were arrested and imprisoned and beaten and gassed for you to have a voice. Say thank you to the women who refused to back down, to the women who fought tirelessly to give you a voice. You just repeated yourself like 17 times. Say thank you to the women who put their lives on hold, who, lucky for you, didn't have better things to do than to march and protest and rally for your voice. So you don't feel like a second-class citizen. So you get to feel like you are equal. Thank Susan B. Anthony and Alice Paul. Thank Elizabeth Satin. Thank Maud Park for your prenatal care and your identity outside of your husband. Thank Rose Scheiderman for your human working. Eleanor Roosevelt, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Okay, so she
Oh,
lists
really?
the
Because
whole
I looked up Sarah Jane Woodson. How dare you?
Sarah Jane Woodson.
Yeah, her
Wait,
name
it
was
says
on
Susan
that
B.
list.
Anthony. Okay, who is she?
All right. So there were two women that she talked about that were activists. Um, basically, her whole thing was she joined the Women's Christian Temperance Union to get women the right to vote in 1888, and she gave some speeches. That was it, and she
Okay.
died. Like that was literally the extent. Because I'm like, okay, so who is this? The only reason she was included was because she's black. Like that's it.
Okay. Well, Rosa Parks is in there, so that's good.
Well, she yeah. But Rosa Parks didn't do anything for women. It was for black people, not a women's issue. It was a segregation issue by race, not gender.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true, but
But hey,
they'll just
fuck
take the
it.
win anyways.
Well, that's what they do. That's the women's march. They
Well,
turned it
it's
into
because-
this is a feminist march.
Right.
The
That's
majority of
because
women there
feminism-
were not feminists,
Right, because feminism equals women, right? That's how
and
that works.
women equal vagina according to the transgender people.
Yeah.
All the marginalized groups.
Okay, so here's where she says,
Hold on. Except for the fact that the left claims they don't believe in biological gender, they believe in your ability to pretend like you can be whatever the fuck you want to be. Then why are they wearing pussy hats? I
Are you
don't
proud of me?
understand.
I didn't even mention Margaret Sanger,
For
is
once.
she in
genociding
here?
cunt. Yeah,
Oh,
you read
she's
her name.
for illegal birth control. Oh, she's the one who wanted to do that so that she can genocide black people.
For
Yep.
eugenics, yeah.
She is the one.
But we should thank her because we have birth control. Well,
And she thinks Hitler. She only thought Hitler was right. She's totally a great person. Totally a great person.
Okay.
Just like the rest of the left, they love Hitler.
I know.
Okay,
Secretly.
here she goes on to explain how you
on.
are equal.
If we're actually going to, I'm sorry interrupting, but if we're actually going to get into it, the left is actually should be in love with Hitler because he took all the Jews that didn't want to participate in the socialist system, who had businesses, who owned gold, and he said, no, you don't get to keep your own things that you worked for. You don't get to keep your own businesses. You don't get any of that. In fact, if you don't work if you don't want to work, then you don't get to eat. So we're sending you off to camp. At the camps, you will work, and only then will you eat. And those are all very leftist ideals, you know. Just believe you're all equal, give up everything that you own.
But the left doesn't want to work.
What?
The
I
left
know,
doesn't
I
want to
know.
work.
I know.
And you didn't read Malala's name. Poor Malala got shot in the head. Come on now. And
Is she in there?
I was hoping that you would read her name so that I could stop you and be like, yeah, the chick who was shot by Muslims because she was speaking out about how she wanted an education.
Yeah.
And then the feminists are championing her as a hero while being Islam apologists, even though the Islamists are the same fucking ones who shot her in the head.
Also?
She got shot in the head by the same people that they're defending. So
Yeah.
pick a fucking side, hypocrites.
What side? There's no sides here. It's all one side. It's the downside.
Okay.
So you can make your own choices, speak and be heard, vote, work, control your body, defend yourself, defend your family because you are a woman who marched. No, because has nothing to do with the fact
No,
that they
here's
marched.
okay. Make your own choices. In the Western world, when women couldn't really make choices like in their personal life, it's kind of the same thing for men.
Yeah.
That wasn't really a thing. Like women had the right to vote if they owned property before voting laws, right? So a woman actually ran for president. She didn't make it through the primary, but she ran for president before women even had the right to vote.
You know, it's funny
She's the
that
first woman to ever run for president. But they act like women were these second-class citizens chained to a fucking oven. It's like that's
I know,
not what
right?
it was like.
No, but you know,
because Hillary
that's
Clinton is the first woman to ever run for president.
that's the
I know,
funny
right?
thing though, that they do, right? They leave off that one word that destroys the whole narrative. Because what they were arguing for wasn't suffrage; it was universal suffrage.
Yeah. Well, and here's the funny part is women could have had the right to vote earlier, but they refused to sign up for the draft and the volunteer fire force.
Oh yeah, there were plenty of women. There were plenty of women that didn't want the right to vote.
Yeah, they didn't care because they don't
it
want
got-
that shit.
it
And
got
hey,
involved.
Because
It
Well, I was
got
gonna say if you don't want to
Right.
sign up for the draft and you're like, I will not vote if that means I don't have to get fucking sent off to war, I'm okay with that.
And look, guys, they got their way. They waited long enough to get the right to vote without having to sign up for shit.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It got stalled for about 80 years before the vote was actually passed for women, and there were women who were writing letters to congressmen saying, "No, we want our men to vote for us. We talk about this when they come home from work. You know, like
and
when
there
they
were
come back."
women who were
Yeah,
writing saying that it's unfair that white women can't vote while black men can. Don't forget those women. Don't forget those feminists. Let's not leave out the racist history.
Well, it's just the
Well,
thing is that they don't give the full picture of it. You know, it's like
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. They put the rose-colored glasses on it to tell you that story, but it's the same shit you get in the public education system now.
yeah.
Right? Whenever something bad happened in the government, they don't tell you the political affiliation, but somebody like George W. Bush is fucking the reincarnation of Hitler and he's a Republican.
guys, the cognitive dissonance in this next paragraph is just so strong. It's incredible.
Go for it.
So she goes on. So you can make your own choices, speak and be heard, vote, control your body, defend yourself, defend your family because you're a woman who marched, even though no. You did nothing to earn those rights. You were born into those rights. You did nothing, but you reaped the benefits of women, strong women who fought for misogyny and pushed through patriarchy and fought for you. You sit on your pedestal, a pedestal you were fortunate enough to have and type, a keyboard warrior.
Wow.
What is she doing? A fighter for complacency, an acceptor. You're an acceptor of what you were given, a denier of facts, wrapped in your delusion of equality. So she
You know what
just
this?
went.
You know what this sounds
Oh my
like to
God.
me? You know what this sounds like? This sounds like a sermon.
Yes, it is.
She
That's what they
just
do. They
went-
preach.
She just went to say that you have all of these rights. You didn't earn those rights. You're being a piece of shit because you're sitting on your keyboard typing,
Yeah, but this
and then
basically
you're
like
being complacent, and then now you
It
are
is
in your
literally
delusion
what
of
she is doing.
equality.
It's what
yeah,
she is doing.
it sounds like she's calling out the blasphemer. That's what it sounds like. It
Okay.
sounds like a
Yeah.
sermon.
You are not equal, even if you feel like you are. You still make less than a man for doing the same work. No. You make less than a CEO, an athlete, and as an actress, as a doctor. You make less than the government, in the tech industry, in healthcare. You do not have full rights over your body. You just said before that you have control over your body, but you don't have full rights over your body. Men are still debating over your uterus. Stop asking them to debate over your uterus, and then they'll stop.
Right.
Over
No,
your
you
prenatal
can't
care,
tell
over
those
your
men. Hold on. You can't tell a group of men, right? Because they're talking about Congress, which there's a bunch of men there, that they can't debate about something that you're telling them they have to pay for.
Exactly.
When that is their whole purpose, that is why they were put into the
Exactly.
position they are in, is to debate over the things that we tell them to spend money on. And then they're like, no, you can't do that. Just give us the fucking money and shut the fuck up.
You still have to pay taxes for your basic sanitary needs. Is that what they're asking for? They didn't want taxes on tampons? Okay.
Yes, and apparently they think on basers.
Oh god damn.
Apparently.
Trigger. What the hell did you do to your microphone?
You still have to carry mace when you walk alone at night. I don't know anybody who carries mace. I don't know anybody who has to carry mace. I don't know.
How about this? You don't want to carry
What
mace
city
at
you
night?
live in.
Leave Detroit.
You still have to prove to the court why you were drunk on the night you were raped. You still have to justify your behavior when a man forces himself on you.
Hold on, go back. Well, what was that one before that? The sentence before?
You still have to pay taxes for your basic sanitary needs.
No, the one before
No, before that. Or the one
And then
after that.
You still have to carry mace when you're walking alone at
After
night.
that.
God damn, what are you? How fucking drunk are you?
You still have to prove to the court why you were drunk
There
on
you
the
go.
night you were
That's
raped.
the one.
That's
Right.
the one.
So you have to
Okay.
prove you were drunk. See, not passed out,
No,
not
why
fucking
you were
forcibly
drunk.
raped. Right. What? Okay. Was what? Okay. All right.
Prove why
I'm not
you
following
were drunk.
along.
Prove why. So when you go and
Prove why you were drunk. So you have to prove you were drunk
no,
because it's
why?
rape because you were drunk, right?
No, not prove why you were drunk. It's basically explain why you were drunk. So it's basically they're saying they're calling out victim blaming here. They're basically saying, well, anytime I go and report my sexual assault, the police just come back at with me. Well, why were you just all drunk and shit and wanting to get raped? That's what they're trying to put out there. That is
As I say,
such
I
an.
don't know. I don't know where she is, so that's my problem. I want to read the sentence.
I don't
Can you?
understand. Like, don't
Say,
these
can
girls
you
go
post
out
it?
with their friends?
Yes.
Like, I don't get it. Like, even if you're a girl and you're going out drinking, you go out with your friends and your friends know. And if you go home with a random guy, your friends usually should be the ones who are making sure that, like, you actually willingly going, or should you be going,
No,
or maybe
no,
you shouldn't be
no,
Okay,
going
no.
at
well,
all.
I don't
Sigyn,
understand this
no, no.
sentence.
Your only friend in life is the liberal government who has to do everything for you. You can't have friends. You can't take responsibility for your own actions.
Yeah, you don't
Can't
need no man. You got the
prove
government.
things. You have to have the government do everything for you. Don't you understand? Like you need the government to pitch in and not charge you taxes for tampons and razors.
Okay, well, I don't know anyone who has to carry mace. Um, I don't know why you have
But
to
I'm,
prove
I'm
that you
still on this sentence.
I do, but they go
Yeah,
bear
can
hunting.
you read that? Can you read that sentence one more time?
you
Okay, I'll
still
read. I'll
have
read
to
it.
prove to
I'll
the
read it.
court. Okay.
You still have to prove to the court why you were drunk on the night you were raped.
Why you were
Right? It
drunk?
sounds like saying I was drunk and I was raped, and then you have to prove. Okay, well, why did you go out and drink? As though that's a thing. Seems like what she's saying, as though you have to justify that you were
Drinking.
drunk, and that's how the rape happened. Like you're justifying your drinking, right? So
Yes.
is the drinking what got you raped?
Well, why you were drunk? So
Well, as
basically,
I'm saying, if you have to prove why you were drunk, that's basically as though the argument is you being drunk is why you got raped, and not even saying that me being drunk has nothing to do with it, right?
Well,
So,
well, she's saying being drunk has nothing to do with it, but she's saying that the
but
court
that's not
thinks
that's
that
not. She's
you.
saying she has to prove why she was drunk on the
Yeah,
night
because the
she was
court
raped.
is trying to say that if you were drunk, you were
Your
deserved
rape
it.
Show,
I
doesn't.
don't
show
Your
know.
me
rape doesn't
one
count. Yeah.
example of that.
I don't know. That she
Well,
was
no,
being
I'm saying like there
provocative.
are laws that say if you drink, it's automatically rape. So I really doubt there are places where they're saying if you're drunk, whatever happens to you is your fault. I really
Because
don't.
we,
I don't
we just
see
talked
that.
about
No,
all the
that
laws
doesn't.
that
It doesn't make sense under legal code. That
Right, I'm saying I don't see that ever happening in a court. I've never seen any actual, not even anecdotal evidence of it actually happening.
that would
Well,
I
happen
just
in
hear
that would
feminists saying
happen
it.
in that would
Well,
happen
it's
in the
like
Middle East
it's in the Brock Turner case, like
where they
the
would hang you
Stanford
for
case.
getting raped.
Okay, see, now here's the thing. I read over the transcripts of the Brock Turner case and looked into it. The victim herself says she doesn't remember what happened. So she can't even be an eyewitness because she was too drunk to remember the incident, right? This is why he got such a lenient sentence. Everyone's like, oh, because he's white. It's like, no, it's because there are no witnesses that a crime actually occurred, and his statement is that she consented to it. So the judge,
Yeah.
all he has is he said she consented, but she passed out during, and he never actually had sex with her. He did the digital shit,
Yeah.
right? And that's when the guys came up. So the only thing to go off of is what Brock Turner said, and he
Wait,
said
he
she
did
consented.
what is it? What digital shit? Like he was taking pictures. Why do
No,
guys
no,
keep
he was
taking
fingering
Wow.
her. He was using
Fingering
his
her.
digits.
Oh.
God damn. Right?
Yeah, it's
So,
called digital
um,
penetration. It's just
And
like
I,
taking
yeah,
your
yeah,
fingers.
exactly. That's what it's called.
You know, I'm-
So I
first
read
thought
her
maybe
whole
he was
statement.
using the phone on her,
No.
and then I'm like, no, that
Her
could be.
her whole statement was, "I was told this when they brought me to the hospital after those two
Yeah,
guys chased
yeah.
out Brock Turner. I was
But
told
they
this,
said
and I
that
was
he
told
used
that."
objects on her.
But nothing, right? But no, they said that there were leaves and stuff that was on the ground that had got into her underwear and vagina. Right?
like they
That's
fell
what it
over.
was. Okay, and I'm saying like, okay, I'm pretty sure he did something wrong, but when you look at it, because justice is supposed to be blind,
Yeah.
there is no actual plaintiff. All there is two guys who saw some shit going on. He took off, and there was a woman unconscious. So it's like you look guilty, but there's definitely a reasonable doubt that he actually did anything wrong. For you know
Well,
what I
I
mean?
think
Like,
that's what she's talking about when she says you have to prove why you were drunk. I don't know.
but she didn't have to prove while she was drunk. She just had no recollection of the event, so she could not make any. She only made an emotional plea to the court about how bad she felt about it the next day, right? But people even at the party said they left together,
Yes.
right? Is what I'm saying is. So people are like, oh, Brock Turner, he's an evil rapist and he got off because he's white. It's like, no, it's because the evidence was very flimsy. So if you get shithouse drunk and you go off on your own, that's a risk that you're taking and you shouldn't do that. But that doesn't make you no longer the victim. And that doesn't mean blame you. you made a bad decision and something horrible happened, but it's still on the person who commits the horrible act. But how hard is it to convict somebody when you were unconscious because you got so shithouse drunk and walked off with them? Whatever they do to you beyond that point, it's going to be kind of hard to prove in court.
No, it would be a miscarriage of justice for a judge to turn around and say, well, the jury's clearly found you guilty of this, like, well, you know, penetrating a woman with your fingers, but you know, but even though the law says that carries a sentence of, you know, I think like 7 years. I don't even remember now what it was.
Yeah, I think
I'm
the
gonna,
max was 7 years.
yeah, I'm gonna throw the book at you and just give you the full pen, you know, you know, the full you know, amount of the law that we can based on like full rape. Like
Right, exactly.
you
Yeah.
can't do that.
I just
Right.
love that
And
she
that's what they
makes that
wanted. That's what they
statement as,
wanted
like,
the
a
judge
fact.
to do.
The thing that bothers me about the statement is that she's saying it as though this is like a fact of life. Like this just happens on the daily to women.
Exactly.
Like you just constantly need to prove why you were drunk. You need to justify your behavior. Like a man is just forcing himself on you every 5 seconds. And you just need to justify that. Like it's
Well,
so
see, this is the
absurd.
this is the logic, right? If you walk down a dark alleyway and you get mugged, right? You can't blame the victim,
All right,
right?
guys, I gotta go.
All right,
Later.
dude.
All right, that was sudden.
Yeah. You can't blame the victim. It's not the victim's fault for getting mugged. However, um, if you put yourself in that situation, right, where you clearly chose to walk down that dark alleyway, right? It comes with risks. If you go to a party, you get shit wasted, right? You're obviously not in control of anything that's going on around you at that point. And then in your drunken stupor, you decide to go and do something retarded, right? It's still not your fault when something bad happens to you, but you definitely positioned yourself to be in that situation.
Yeah, but it's also just like things are okay. Let me just keep reading this just to finish off. This is I don't even okay. Uh, so what you still don't have paid or unpaid or even unpaid maternity leave, which is not true. A majority of women do. You still have to go back to work while your body is broken, while you silently suffer from postpartum depression. Again, not all women suffer from postpartum depression. You still have to fight to breastfeed in public. Don't breastfeed in public. You still have to prove to other women it's your right to do so. Don't breastfeed in public. You still offend others with your breast. Don't breastfeed in public. You are still objectified. You are still catcalled. You are still sexualized. You are still too skinny or you're too fat. You are told you are too old or you're too young. Like this isn't told to men at all. They're never told they're too skinny or too fat or too old or too young.
Stick to the narrative.
You're applauded when you age gracefully. Like who the fuck says that? You are still told that men age better. Okay. You were still told to dress like a lady. Who the fuck says that? You were still judged on your outfit instead of what's in your head. No, that's not true. Your brand bag still matters more than your college degree. It matters more to other women, not to men. Men don't care what brand your bag is. Do you guys care if I'm holding
politics sure still don't make a difference there either. Politics have nothing to do with your fucking brand of bag.
You were still
Do they,
being
guys?
abused. You were actively being abused by your husband and by your boyfriend. Babe, you're abusing me. I didn't know.
I know.
You're being murdered. I'm being murdered
people
by
to-
you. I'm
Murdered.
being beaten by my soulmate. My soulmate is just beating the shit out of me. What
Guys,
the
call the
fuck is
police.
this? Okay, I got triggered.
I can tell.
You are worse off if you were a woman color, a gay woman, a transgender woman. You are harassed, belittled, dehumanized. Like just all the time, just every day. This is just existence for you. You are not equal. Your daughters are not equal. You are still systematically oppressed.
You know, if it's really that bad for some people, then they just kill themselves.
But I didn't get, oh, here, this gets better. But I get it. You don't want to admit it. You don't want to be a victim. You think feminism is a dirty word. You think it's not classy to fight for equality. You hate the word pussy, unless, of course, you call it to a man who isn't like, oh my God.
You know what's really funny, right? Replace the word pussy with like anus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
Open
it's
your eye. Who's the person here?
it's right in the same region, and just like look how ridiculous that would be.
I think this entire thing is ridiculous as fuck.
Even you are a second class citizen, even if you don't feel like one. Who's creating the oppression here?
It looks like the left is creating its
Open
own
your
oppression.
eyes and open them wide, because I'm here to tell you, along with millions of other women, that you are not equal. Your equality is an illusion. It's a feel-good sleight of hand, a trick of the mind. I'm sorry to tell you, but you are not equal, and neither are your daughters. Go fuck yourself. Who the
That's-
fuck are you to tell me who I am and what my value is?
Well, see,
She's a liberal.
this is just to me though. This is just classic sophistry. This is drumming up an emotional appeal to inspire people to some sort of action, whatever that action they want, is. It's funny how like a lot of the mainstream feminist voices, the ones that you'll see on TV speaking up quite frequently, are the ones who are always complaining about how, oh, it's just like in the Women's March. I forget the woman, the actress who was talking about how you get paid less as an actress, than other actors, and it's like, well, that's quite self-serving, isn't it? I mean, you're bringing that up, and
Yeah.
that's your particular field that you happen to work in. It's like, I mean, come on.
Like, yeah, it's rich CEO women are not making enough as rich CEO men. Like, there's millions of people living in poverty, and then you're talking about how like your rich CEO husband makes more than you, even though women still want to marry up. So no matter how much money they make, they want to marry someone who makes more money than them.
Right. And so
Speaking of looking in on
yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing, is that's their end goal, right? That's what they want to achieve is, I want more money. I can use this pseudo oppression that I have to curry favor with the masses, who will then make that change happen, and then I'll make more money.
Mhm.
It's funny to me that like they don't even try and mask it. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not concerned with how much money people in the upper class are making. I really don't care. I don't care if that's equal or not. It's got nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's just one of those things, and you'll see that. I mean, you have to go watch the clip again. I forget the name of the actress though. It wasn't Madonna. It was the other one.
Scarlett Johansson.
No, it wasn't Scarlett Johansson.
What's she look like?
She's she was the one talking about the periods and the stained sheets and whatnot. That one. Do you remember that one?
No, that
No.
doesn't ring a bell.
I'll have to link it to you.
Where did she say have the speech?
It was the same, I believe, the same stage that Madonna did her speech on.
No, I mean like was it Golden Globes, Oscars? Was this just Women's March?
This is the Women's March, yeah, which is where Madonna did her speech. Yeah.
Madonna did the speech?
Yeah, she sure did. You don't remember where she threatened to blow up the White House?
I didn't see it. You
Where
watched it.
she
I didn't
said
watch it.
she said she's thought about blowing up the White House.
Right. And I made the joke that no, you misquoted her. She just meant she wants to blow the White House.
Yeah.
It's Madonna. If she's gonna keep explosives anywhere, it's in her bra, as we've seen with those giant pointy things.
Yeah. Well, this is what sophists do, though, right? This is what they've always classically done, anyways. They use these rabble-rousing speeches and whatnot that don't really carry any sort of factual content. They don't lend to reality whatsoever, or borrow from reality either, for that matter. And they're meant to achieve some sort of political goal or mean, and they just get people emotionally angry so that they do what they want. And that was how that's how speeches were originally made to the
Yeah, it's a classical rallying the rabble bullshit where where you have real democracy, and the real democracy is just mob rule. It's you get the fucking mob together and you get them to vote or rally behind your stupid goal because you emotionally fucking manipulated them into some random garbage. and they go and they vote for you again and again and again.
And this is exactly what we're seeing right here. This is new age sophistry to me.
But this isn't new age though. This is a really old tactic that's being used again and again and again. It
No, I
was
mean
used,
this is the most recent iteration of sophistry. Is what I'm
but
saying.
do you remember last time they used it? Was it not for was not one of the major instances 9/11 to just justify all the wars everywhere?
I suppose you could make that argument.
Was there one after it or before it that you can think of?
I mean, I think another good example of it would be let's see. What would be a good example of it?
Hope. Obama's entire fucking election, the hope cycle, change and hope. Everyone's always like change and hope and change and hope. There's
No,
actually a pretty decent record of people who just continuously go on and on and on about how
it's
many different presidents ran on the slogan of change and hope. Clinton was one of them.
what you have to do is it's a little bit different than political sloganeering or that kind of shit. It's sophistry is more like crafting an argument that on the face of it, if you don't look into it, makes sense. But as soon as you start to investigate what they're claiming, the whole thing completely unravels.
Oh, that's
So
what you mean.
so when you're looking at people that have like drummed up support for political means where they actually have facts that they're standing on, that can't really be considered sophistry, even if it is misleading. If they're still basing it on facts, they just have a different
Well,
opinion on the
Obama was
conclusions.
theoretically black.
Yes, he was theoretically black. Yeah.
We
No,
still haven't seen the birth certificate to prove it, though.
I can't think of a good iteration of this in the past. I mean, I'm sure I will as soon as the stream's over, but right now I can't. But
All
it's
right.
just,
I guess it's been 2 hours and we're kind of running out on things, and Trigger randomly ran out of us, and our very special guest ran out of us. At least Mycroft's here. They're always special guest.
Sorry, I'm ranting now in this response. I have to respond to this article.
Okay, so she's not even here anymore either. I guess we'll just call it a good night and continue this on in Discord for anyone who cares to join us. Yeah, everyone, have a good night. 9/11 was an
everyone.
inside job, and our special guest was Mycroft and Devil's Advocate.
And join us on Sunday when we talk about literal white power and the Turner Diaries.
Oh yeah,
Jews.
that's a thing. That's a thing.
Race war now.
Yeah, exactly.
Good times. Good times.
All right, guys, have a good night. Thanks for listening.
night.
Good night.